Here.
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 If there are no further amendments or additions to this evening's council meeting agenda, the agenda will stand as presented. And can I have a motion to approve the council regular meeting minutes from June 9th, 2025?
Approve our meeting 25. Second. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
Meeting minutes passed 4 yeas and 1 abstention. And this evening, we have a special presentation. And I will turn it over a little bit to Chief McKee.
Chief, I know you think you're here to honor me, but you're not. It's honored that we can get you in here. So we just, all the guys here that you hired at the police department are here right now. You took a chance with me, like 29 years ago almost. Lieutenant Jaskowitz, same thing, he was hired after me. Then Detective Greenbaum, and then Officer Flowers, we're all still here. With our compliance services, almost 150 years. So you did the right thing. I'm not saying that you hired the right people, I'm saying you did. So with that, and everything that you've done for the police department, even though you retired back in 2008, we still lead the police department with everything you taught us. So with that, I couldn't think of anybody better to honor and nominate for the 4th of July Grand Marshal. You asked me before you walked in if you had to speak. So if you want to speak, if you want to say something bad about me now, I'll get you in here. But anyhow, I don't want to take everything from Mayor Carney.
Oh no, I appreciate Chief McKee being in on this, and he did not want to. I can't lie to him. Why would you put me in this position? And I said, well, his daughter suggested. No, and
And Scott was also, they were also involved in this. So
Everybody.
yes, it was a family function.
Family cover-up.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you got to get everybody involved.
So first, I would like to present this certificate of appreciation to be recognized as the 2025 4th of July Grand Marshal. Mr. Hilbert has been a lifetime resident of the Village of Plain City and dutifully served as the Plain City Chief of Police and Village Administrator. So I'd like to bestow this upon you. And then we have a proclamation. Whereas Mr. Steve Hilbert, a lifetime resident of the Village of Plain City, dutifully served as the Plain City Chief of Police and Village Administrator for numerous years. And whereas Mr. Hilbert served as the Plain City Chief of Police for more than 11 years, from 1996 to 2008. And whereas Mr. Steve Hilbert served as the Village Administrator for more than 4 years, from 2008 to 2013. And whereas Mr. Hilbert acted with exceptional leadership and dedication to the Village of Plain City and its residents during his tenure as Chief of Police and Village Administrator. And whereas Mr. Hilbert served as the Grand Marshal for the 2025 4th of July celebration. And whereas the Village of Plain City wishes to express its immense gratitude and celebrate Mr. Hilbert for his dedicated service to the Plain City community. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jody Kearney, Mayor of Plain City, do hereby proclaim that today, the 23rd day of June, 2025, is the celebration of Mr. Steve Hilbert within the Village of Plain City. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. There's a lot of successes that we had while I was chief. Dan Waddle was administrator. However, it's not I. We. So she got.
So we have, so we will need you on July 4th, at 9 a.m. at Pastime Park, where we'll have your convertible to ride through the parade. Your chariot, yes. No, yeah. No, you have to have your own.
I can put them in the back of the truck. Can we still some take some pictures?
Oh, yes, we can, yeah, yes, could we have a few? But we can get some pictures. Okay.
Unless, do you want to stay for the whole meeting?
No.
We'll get some pictures here.
Tyler, how'd you play on Friday?
What's that?
How'd you guys play on Friday? Golf.
Oh, how did we play? All right. I mean, I think
It's a unique course.
we're like you know, we just couldn't like the first 9 couldn't make a birdie save our tails. It was everything was fine. And like, yep, nope, we were. So it came around. Then the guy come up. It was cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he shot like 320. Kind of, yeah. He kind of knew the trajectory and he had the PSI set. We had 10 feet short. Made that, and they're like, "Yeah, that's where you shoot."
Like that? Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
I joked with her because it got me a tea time in the afternoon. I would have played because I was playing in Derby Creek in the morning for an engineering function, and I just would have moved it down there and played in the afternoon.
we're glad we were in.
All right, I think we are all back, so I'll keep the meeting moving. We have one visitor signed up, Mr. Barry Thomas. Mr. Thomas, you have 3 minutes for your time.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to talk about the police department, but I've been overwhelmed already. But I just want to tell you folks how good a job I think they do. And people in this town don't have a clue how much I talk to people in this town. Not a period of a clue. And everybody really trusts them, and I don't know, they just like them, you know. And I wanted to say something about Ron Huff and his crew. Me and my wife here don't have nothing to do, and every morning we ride around town, every day, down almost every alley, and just see stuff that they fix, you know. And like the park over here, they got that place so nice over there. I'm just so proud of them. And so I'm not very good at talking, but
We appreciate your kind words.
yeah, and I mean that too. And I'm gonna tell you something else. We go out to Big Derby Baptist Church every Sunday. Not the pastor, the congregation prays for the police department here in town every Sunday. So that's what I want to tell you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boss.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Okay, moving into the report section. Just want to thank staff members and council members and for the wonderful grand opening at the Depot. That was a fantastic event, and the village really pulled together, and it was a nice event. And I know there's a lot of residents that really appreciate. So Haley and team, and it was a great evening. So I feel like that is what embodies Plain City with that grand opening. And I also want to thank our wonderful staff today. We had the junior mayor for the day, and this was through the Cub Scout auction. The Cub Scout leaders asked me and said, hey, how about, would you mind donating an auction item? I was like, sure, what can we do? Because we don't really want to spend money on auction items, but this was more of the extrinsic gratification of auctioning off the ability for a Cub Scout to be the mayor for the day. And so today, Carson Schaefer, one of our newer residents to Plain City, came to the office and was the mayor. And I just want to say to Haley and Renee and Linda and Chief for stepping in, and especially Chase, Mr. Evans, documented the experience. And I think we have a young person of our community that is very interested in maybe local government one day. So we shall see. But I just want to appreciate taking the time out of your schedule to teach him. Ms. Granger taught him that, how can you shake a hand? And let me see your hand shake. And this is like, those are skills that child, I hope, will take with him for many years to come. So he's only 6.5. So, and he recognized Mr. Lewis because he's in your son's class. So yes, but just want to thank, this is something that we don't have to do these things, but when we do, it is a great give back to the community, and hopefully they can go and talk about how their local government is operated. So thank you. And she even let him run all the sirens and lights in the cruiser. So
Is that something to do?
yeah, no, I don't get to. I don't. That was just a snippet. He also made a proclamation, which, and Mr. Dryer, oh my goodness, Mr. Dryer, I'm like looking up this slide, Mr. Dryer, we need to get you more on, like, in the view, but he put together a proclamation. That, and helped him craft it for today is actually National Hydration Day, which is fitting with the temperatures outside, and so Mr. Dryer's ability to help ask questions and get, a young child who might not want to interact with a bunch of adults early in the morning. So I appreciate, especially, like, we definitely did not have that always planned, but he, as usual, did it with a smile and was like, and he was so excited to take his proclamation home. So thank you. I cannot thank staff enough for that. I'll go ahead and cover planning and zoning. We did not have a planning and zoning meeting in the month of June, but July there will be some zoning code updates and changes. So that we'll be finalizing our rules and regulations. So that will be July 16th. So with that, I'm turning it over to Ms. Lupton, our village administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to echo your depot opening comments. Thanks to all of you for attending and bringing your families. It was really great to see that. We got a lot of good feedback. And now we're trying to have it open some summer hours so people can peek in without booking it or anything, just during the day, sporadically throughout the summer. So we'll keep that updated to the public. We participated in the Bicentennial Park Engineering Kickoff meeting today, finally, getting that rolling. We would expect to have a public meeting for public input in October. So it'll still be a slow process, but there should be lots of opportunities for public input. The Maple Street Bridge is closed. You've seen the signs all around town. Hopefully it doesn't take 120 days, but that's what ODOT likes to plan on. And then we have 4th of July next week. So thanks to the park staff and fire and police and public works and everybody that's getting that all lined up. It should be a great time. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lupton. Ms. Bonnet, our finance director.
Thank you, Mayor. As I mentioned at the last council meeting that we were being audited, they were done within about a week. I have not gotten a report yet, but I don't foresee any issues at all. It was great, pretty smooth. So, thank you.
Thank you for that update. Chief McKee.
I don't have anything at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. And we are not having our July 2nd council work session, so I will assume to pay attention for August and see how that goes. And then Mr. Lafayette, update from our law director.
No report.
Yes.
In court tomorrow.
Economic development. Ferguson.
Well, there was a meeting May 20th. Unfortunately, there was not a quorum for that meeting, so there was really no new business. I believe Mr. Stanford had a chance to introduce Mr. Evans to the committee and as well as just give updates on all of the ongoing projects. Next meeting will be July 15th at 11 o'clock here in the conference room.
Thank you for the update. Thank you. Bees Board of Zoning Appeals.
We had a meeting in June. Our next meeting will be July 9th. Be here. We have two items, fence variance for something on the corner and then a variance for a building structure.
Thank you, Mr. Harriman. And planning and zoning again will be July 16th here at 5:30 p.m. Parks and Recreation Committee. I know Mr. Terry isn't here, but would you like to give an update, Ms. Granger?
Sure. We did not have a meeting in May, but we did have one this past Tuesday, June 17th. I gave updates about basically everything Parks and Rec since we didn't meet in May. The pool is fully staffed, thanks to increasing the pay rate, so we are in good shape there. We had a very slow start to the season, as you all know. It's pretty rainy and cold, and now we're going gangbusters because it's boiling hot. One of the points of discussion we did have under new business was comments. We did have a smoking section at the aquatic center, and the Parks and Recreation Committee voted to not allow that. So I know that's going to be a point of discussion, but that was something that we did all approve of. This past Friday, we had Touch a Truck. That was really great. Thank you to Officer Prater for getting in touch with the State Highway Patrol and getting a helicopter in it. That was really, really cool. Sergeant, what did I say? Anyway, there. But anyway, he did sort of coordinate that, and that was really cool to have that there. And we had a really good turnout as usual, and got really good positive feedback from the community. I mean, the kids loved it, so that's a fun event. And then there is a video that Chase created. Hopefully you all saw about Touch a Truck. It's really well done, really cool video. So I got a lot of comments about that. So that's pretty much it for now. We're underway for the 4th of July, and we're going to press pretty much for good weather, and pretty much everything is status quo with that like past years. So
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And anything on tree commission? Ms. Granger, do you have anything on tree commission?
no,
No.
they
Okay.
they're meeting for they were supposed to meet this week, and they canceled. They
Okay.
didn't have any business.
Okay, perfect. And personnel and finance CIP, Mr. Lewis?
Thank you, Mayor. Our next meeting is July 24th at 6:30. That's all.
Thank you very much. And fire board?
Fire board, thank you, Mayor. We have our next meeting on Thursday, July 8th, so we scheduled our Thursday, July 3rd meeting for a week. And that's probably, I could talk a lot about fire board, but we'll leave it at that for now.
Okay.
So, good thing. Fire board is fantastic, and they're doing a fantastic job.
The fire department. District. Thank you, Mr. Sins. Plain City Area Development Corporation?
Our next meeting will be July 8th, at 8:30 in the morning here. We did not have a meeting last month.
Perfect. And PCBA, Mr. Dreyer?
Absolutely. The next meeting is this Wednesday at 8 a.m. at Bear Dutchman.
Perfect. And then Union County Chamber?
Their June 19th meeting was rescheduled, and I didn't write down the date yet, so next month, or the month after, I think.
Participated. Madison County Chamber had their golf outing on Friday. And everywhere we went, folks at the chamber and everybody was just so confident about Plain City and all the great things that were happening here. We go over we just love coming to town. Everything's just the changes that have been here, uptown. So definitely recognize that with the folks in the chamber.
And thank you for that update on the golf outing. And also, Madison County Chamber does have a job posting. I'm trying to think of the exact title. It's within the chamber office. I want to say it's a communications. So if you know of anybody that is looking, I know they're in need. And then semi-centennial event planning, we met with Mr. Evans a couple weeks ago. We're supposed to meet Wednesday, but we need to come together for another date and, so we'll get that planned to be maybe in a couple weeks. Okay, moving into discussion items, we have our Mid-Ohio Water Sewer District representative, so I will hand it over to Carrie.
You have the carries, yes. She's carry 1, I'm carry 2. For those of you I don't know, I'm Carrie Haymeyer. I've served on the Mid-Ohio Water and Sewer District for just over a year as a Plain City rep. And so I apologize, I went to the dentist this morning, so she's going to do most of the talking. But first, I'd like to thank Plain City first for letting us utilize this room at least once a month. That's been very helpful, and that was very gracious of Plain City to do that for us. So we want to thank you for that. Also, we'd like to thank you for your continued support and your confidence in us as representatives to advocate for Plain City and the service area that Plain City and its customers that we serve. And Carrie's going to give you more of like a high-level overview of some of the projects that are either in progress or planned that directly impact Plain City and its service area and customers. And then after she's done, if you have any questions or if there's any information that you would like for us as your reps to take back to the board for any discussion, we'd be more than happy to do so. So with that, Carrie number 1.
What I would do is go over, there's a ton of development, as you guys all know. So getting into those details probably is not helpful here, but we do have some major projects that are, first I'm going to go over them, then I'll talk about timelines so you can see kind of where we're at. But the first one is, you guys have all heard about the regional water treatment. That's why we're here. That's why we're a district. You're going to hear us start to refer that as the Deer Creek Water Reclamation Facility. So that's kind of the new word. Now that we know where it's going to be, it's right on Deer Creek. We expect the EPA has agreed to approve our facility plan by July 31st. That has been a barrier. We thought we might have had to use Madison County, so luckily now we're in great shape for that. We think loan approval is the next biggest thing, and that's August 1st. That's kind of a big deal just because it's the first time as the district will be going through that process on our own. That's something that hadn't been started, so I wanted to call that out. Once that's completed, the first phase is 5 million gallons per day, but we're building it in phases as needed. So phase 2 adds another 5 to 10, and phase 3 adds 15. The next, probably largest one for up here is the force main sewer down to that facility. And that one, we're going to begin construction in August, and it'll be done in plenty of time. We're in some assessment work there, but it's pretty much ready, and we're to put shovels in the ground as soon as we can.
That's this August?
I'm sorry.
That's this August they're going to start?
August 26th,
okay.
2026, to be able to get it to. Yeah, please stop me if you have questions, because I'll either answer them or write them down and get back to you. So there is going to be 4 lift stations. I think there's been conversations about how many. So if anybody cares, there's 4 lift stations between Plain City, and it'll be a 20-inch force main line. That was many years ago. We talked about that detail, so I thought I'd bring it up. After that, probably the next biggest is a Plain City water renovation and an additional well. We are planning additional well here in town, and once that treatment center and all of the renovations, we'll go from 1.125 million gallons per day to 1.6. Sorry for reading. I'd never remember these numbers. I'd have them all goofed up. And using the same process we have now. So it's just taking the treatment facility and upgrading it in place. After that, we are, as far as 161 goes, we will be finalizing the transmission line there in August of this year, and look to conclude and complete that line. There's a water tower going out there, and it's going to be located on the Schrag property, I think is what most people, so it's just a line from here out to Schrag. We're early in the concept phase, but I did want to bring up that we are looking to a new water treatment facility, and it would have to be up in this area of our district. It's where the most water is needed. It's where it makes sense. We're looking to start the design of that pretty soon, like in May. I know that sounds like it's a whole year from now, but before we know it, there's so many steps to get there. And with that, we will need a second water tower. So at some point, we'll be talking about someplace northern area of the village here to put a water tower. Again, it's all conceptual, and all of these projects are to get us in line with the dates that we said going into the district that we could meet those dates. And so from a date perspective, in 2025, we still got a lot to do. In July, the guaranteed price minimum loans is what we call it. That's our first loan we need to get. But September, we'll have shovels in the ground. I know we're all anxious for that. So I think our developers, our partners, like everybody will maybe settle down and realize that this is happening. And then also the well development piece starts in December here. So then in 2026, the plant renovation and additional well, the renovations on the plant begin in January, but they'll be completed in September. That's a very short project for us. So, and the well will be operational by February. And also in 2026, we should get PTI approval on that force main so that that's ready when construction begins in August. And also the water transmission line and water tower construction will begin on that in May, and water tower construction should be done in April. That'll be here before we know it. Then as we move on to 2027, the 161 water transmission, that water tower will be done in April, sorry, wrong year, 2027. And then conceptually, that new water treatment, we really should be at design documents at that point. So by 2028, as we've said for several months, we still anticipate and do not see any reason that we will not be operational with that, the water reclamation facility. So that's what the developers are waiting on. That's what everybody's waiting on to make sure. And we still think everybody that was in the queue and everybody that we thought were coming, that we can still service that. So don't see any barriers to that. Online by June of 28.
A lot of moving pieces.
It is. That's why I have to read it, because it's a lot.
Like the timeline map almost of like, yes.
It is kind of amazing when you think about all the moving pieces and all the engineering and the money and all the different parts. So we're pretty proud of staff and the board and all the things that you have to go through to get to this place. So.
Thank you. One question I have from customers a lot is like a little bit of customer service.
Sure.
So the day-to-day, being able to call down and like get the same level of service that they once were receiving in Plain City about there, and then also if they have an issue, like the return on that timing. I know I talked to a neighbor about the deduct meter and figuring that out in the yard and everything, because that's something that we've offered for.
I'll tell you, I'm not going to make excuses because we know that we've had problems with that. And we went to a new billing system early on in this whole process and realized that we probably leaned the wrong way and made the decision to just call it and say it didn't work out for us. It didn't connect to the meters the way we wanted to, so we punted and went back to what London was using. Some of you, probably all of you know that it started out Madison County, Plain City, so we made the decision when it was those two. Found out that London had a better system, so part of that was that too. And that's the one thing I'll say is as a board, we're pivoting. And where I may stay in here right now and say we're going to do like this billing system, if there's a better decision to have, I am glad we have the courage to do that if it makes sense. So this is one of those places. It did not come without hurdles though, and it came with the billing system that we had is like staffed with 4 people. When one of them went out, it just blew up the whole ordeal. And originally the plan was let's just shove in the new system. And I said, it's time out. Like I've been in IT a very long time and said that never works. So we slowed it down thinking that it would help the process. And I believe it did, but we still haven't gotten past that. We haven't gotten over that. We are on the new system. We have folks, I know I have neighbors that still don't understand that there was just a recent change.
Right.
And we were starting to hear that. So we even put a card out in the mail. Like just try to mail out. So we're trying to get the word out. We'd be happy to do any communication if we want to do. I don't know if you guys are still doing this stuff on social. We can do that anyway. We can get the word out. I'm hearing, I've heard that they're not answering the phone, but then I'm hearing that's getting better. So we want to know these things. We always want to know if the information's current too. So if anytime you can get a fact, that would be helpful too. Because once you've lost somebody, once you've lost their trust in customer service, getting it back is hard. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to remember that we answered the phone. They're going to remember we didn't answer the phone. So we are always, as a board, talking about this. We've got great staff in place for that. And we're also making decisions about rearranging staff to put the right people in the right seats. Mm-hmm. All of this is a product of merging 3 different ideologies, people, all the things. So it's important to us. It's important to us as your neighbors, but it's also important to us as a board that the customer service continues to get better. So please keep us. We had a conversation earlier with Haley. We've got some of the facts down, so we're going to take it back to the board and take it back, probably not the board, back to Tom, because this is really operational, as you guys know that. But continue to let us know if you're hearing that. That's the kind of stuff that we really want to know.
Okay.
Deduct meters is the biggest thing I've heard.
Okay. And I don't know enough to actually comment much about the meters, the deduct meters. So let us take that as a takeaway, and maybe we can get back on the agenda, or even
maybe like an August timing.
Yeah,
That's okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Sure. And anything we can do between now and then, we will. We won't wait. What are the things you're hearing, if you'd like, with the deduct meters? Is that, or you can like let us know later? But okay.
I have one. It's also confusing to me. I don't quite get it.
Okay.
It's instead of it just being a deduction, it's some sort of percentage thing. Doesn't make any sense. So
that's a great.
Just to be clear, the Deer Creek Water Reclamation Plant, that was on a plant. That is what we talked about, like the Choctaw plant land, that land, and we settled on the Deer Creek land. That's where the main plants go.
Yes.
You're saying down the line, though, they want another plant up this way somewhere.
For water. That down there is the sewer plant.
The sewer,
Yep,
okay.
the sewer will be there, and I think we don't want to call it regional because it really isn't. Water, you do it a little bit different. For water, you really service it wherever the water is.
Yeah.
Sewer, we pump stuff all the time. Way more than you want to know. So yeah, so it's really, I mean, it's for the district, but it would service up here where the wastewater is serviced the entire district.
Thank you.
Water and sewer to service the 161 corridor.
The plans right now are just sewer, but when we've got in the ground, we always look at what pipes to put in there. So that'll be part of the planning. But, yeah, I don't want to dig up people's yards twice. It never goes well.
The project starting in September, that's the reclamation center? Is that what's going to be shoveled? And so everybody's on the same page finally?
Yes. We're right back where we started after all these months. So.
And that's June of 28th that plant will be online.
Yes.
Deer Creek plant.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of other things, moving parts. We felt like this was best to talk about in holistic, but there's some other plants that are able to take on some different capacities that we can really action things a little bit faster. But the big project is still June 28th.
Yeah.
When we get the pipes in the ground going south, we'll be able to just really explode and be able to do more things.
Will they tie into London first or just straight down to Deer Creek?
So there are interconnections. The one thing we have to do because of the EPA is some interconnections for both water and sewer. And at some points they will tie in, but not everything.
Yeah.
Depending on those lift stations that I talked about, there'll be 4 of them, and some of them will connect and some of them won't. That's some of the, we're already in design build now. We did make we went to a CMAR process with them, which was nice. So we've had, where it doesn't look like there's much going on. Once we get shovels in the ground, like everything's done really as far as other than the financing pieces of it, but we know the style, the type, the things, and then it's kind of like we'll be picking fixtures like you were buying a house. Everything else, the big decisions are done.
But London has additional capacity now?
They could have some, especially if we've got some more sewer lines going in there that could go to the regional fast, and then we've got the jail or the prison, excuse me, and another facility there. So.
The cost stuff, is that being equally divided amongst everybody in the districts, or Plain City have a rate, London have different rate, Mass County have different rates?
Are you talking about user rates, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now we've got some things that we're bound to. London, when we brought them on, we cannot raise user rates for 3 years, so they look very different. But the district has its same rates. So everybody else is paying one thing, but London, we can't adjust theirs for a while. And we're always looking at rates. We did have, when London came on, it's public knowledge, we had some people that didn't agree with some of the rates that we came up with. So we went to a third party and had them look to tell us that we didn't go high enough. So we're good where we're at. But yeah, we're really wanting to get to a district rate. We're servicing the district. This isn't a Plain City, and Haley probably gets sick of me saying this. It's not London, Madison County, and Plain City anymore. Although we're, appointed by those, we need to make business decisions for the whole district. Good question, though.
Any other questions? Let's plan on having Yuli's back in August, and if we have any other questions, we can kind of ask our neighbors and residents, and maybe that's something we can have you out to our community caravan.
Absolutely.
We can go to some of the new neighborhoods if they have questions, so.
We'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
And even if we can't, we've got staff the building staff are always usually willing, and so be happy to. Just let us know.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to our meeting.
Yeah, thank
you.
Thanks for having us.
And for serving the time too, as representatives. Okay, our next discussion item is comprehensive plan.
Yes, just wanted to provide an update on the comp plan, now that we've been working on it for a few months. The advisory committee meets for the first time tomorrow night. That's a group of local stakeholders, including people from the school, businesses, residents. I think there's some recreation people on there. Staff will be leading it along with MKSK. So we've kind of been spending the last few months in data collection, making the maps, really, doing the community tour, working on our brand and communication plan. So now we're moving into that public input part, the community engagement. So we'll have a project website up soon. The advisory committee will meet, and then MKSK is planning to come to, I believe, the August work session for the council portion of it, as well as there will be some online surveys that everyone will get the chance to provide input to. So it's moving along, but it had been a while since we did an update, so I just want to see if anybody had any questions and keep you updated.
Thank you for the update. And then going into purchase agreement.
Yes, just wanted to call note to a first reading tonight. The property at Courier Road, we are beginning the purchase of that property as we talked about for a while now. That's with OPWC Clean Ohio grant funding and a portion of village funds. So that's about a 90-day process. So we're kicking it off to take it through the summer. That's what that purchase agreement is for.
All right, thank you very much. And panhandling, I know I had talked to staff, to Ms. Lupton, Mr. Dreyer about this, and Mr. Dreyer has done some extensive research on this topic, just to kind of get ahead of this for the village, and as we grow, and I always see like what Dublin has with signs. So Mr. Dreyer, I will hand it over to you.
Absolutely. This was all free with the correct name. I may not say correctly, but like the mayor said, did a little bit of research on this to figure out what the village's options could be as a municipality for panhandling. Overall, it is a First Amendment protected speech or protected right. It is, to my research, not legal to completely prohibit panhandling. Private property owners may be able to post signs and prohibit that, but publicly, the village cannot. There's been a lot of legislation I saw in my research where municipalities had ordinances and regulations, but repealed them after a Supreme Court ruling. Dublin, as you saw in the staff, Dublin and several other cities have legislation saying that panhandling across highways is a safety issue, but the act of passively and not aggressively asking for money on a sidewalk cannot be prohibited. That being said, obviously the council would like, staff would be happy to, I would be happy to continue to research potential options, but it's broad review.
I mean, I think I'd be, at least looking at having something, just like I said, safety-wise, not on highways. I was reading through some of the stuff like, if we can limit, I don't know, by ATMs or different things like that, where it could be, or aggressive panhandling. I don't know how that's defined. I know some of them have been there, but and I kind of look at Chief just having something, at least having some kind of backbone, like to sit there and have something there that, if there's an issue, that, the citizens have, the police have a little bit of backbone.
We looked at this a while back, and like Justin said, there's not much you can do with a lot of it. The thing with the highways that we already have orders about being in the road, so, I mean, you can't be in the highway even protesting, so, the ATM, most of the ATMs are on private property, so if they don't want them on private property, they can't be on private property anyhow, so
Okay.
I mean, we can look further into it and see what we can do, but there's, and Paul could probably agree with, there's not a whole lot you can do with a lot of it.
No, from a general, like if you're kind of trying to come up with ideas on areas where you would like to try to limit it, keep in mind, just from the constitutional standard, it has to be a compelling government interest to restrict it, because it is a First Amendment issue. So when you get into issues of safety, think of your police powers, and if it's something that directly impacts one of those police powers and your ability to regulate, again, safety issue on the street, something like that, that's where you have a little bit more leverage to do something. But if it's just on the sidewalk, there's not a lot you can do.
I think since we already have an ordinance about being in the streets, I don't know if we need to do any more research. You've already done some of the research already. We found out that, there's not much we can do, and hearing from our own council, from our police chief. I mean, the research we've done found out that we can't go much further.
All right, so we can cross that item off the list and at least know, yes. Great. Smoking in public areas, Ms. Lupton?
Thank you. As Ms. Granger stated earlier, the Parks and Rec Committee had a conversation this week. There was a designated smoking area at the Aquatic Center. Our Parks and Rec rules and regulations also say no smoking anywhere on village property in the parks. So the committee confirmed that the designated smoking area should be removed. People can go back to their enclosed motor vehicles to smoke or leave village property, but just wanted to provide a public update about that change that you'll be seeing.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lupton. State legislation.
Yes, there are a couple of pieces of legislation and a couple of House bills we wanted to bring up that we're concerned about and wanted to talk about it publicly. House Bill 113, the mayor, myself, Mr. Stanford, and Mr. Terry submitted a written testimony in opposition to the proposed changes to annexation governance. This is shifting some of the power to confirm annexations to the county commissioners to make planning decisions basically on behalf of local municipalities. They would have the option to not confirm an annexation because of the general good. And we don't believe that that is the county's power to state. We believe that should remain with our home rule authority. As a village, we've never pushed annexation, but when it comes and it's done right, we do accept it, and we want to make sure we still retain that power. It also suggests moving expedited annexations from 500 acres to 200 acres, and the contiguous boundary requirement, increasing it from 5% to 20%. So we just don't see the justification in that, and we feel strongly against it. So we did submit written testimony for that bill. That bill was just introduced, I believe, so I'm not sure where it is in the process, but we wanted to make sure we were ahead of it. Second of all, House Bill 335 has been introduced, and it's a very comprehensive property tax relief bill. The village understands that people feel stressed about rising property values and the taxes that come along with it, all the levies. However, we don't feel like this is the correct way to give property owners relief. And we also heard from the Jonathan Alder School Board, who we expect to submit a letter. The school board will be greatly impacted by property tax relief in this form, but the village will also be pretty severely impacted. We rely heavily on property tax for our police department. Some of it goes to the Aquatic Center, and then some of it does, a very small portion of it goes to the general fund. If property tax is done away with, or if it's reduced in the amount that this bill suggests, we'll have to make major cuts because we want to make sure our police department is staffed and our pool can pay off the debt that it has incurred.
Yeah, the school was very opposed. I went to the school board meeting in, I think it was May, and their treasurer was adamantly opposed. He's been talking to people in downtown, and he he said they just don't understand how this will impact the schools. It will cripple schools in certain areas. You know, their argument was, well, put money back in people's pockets and they'll spend. Well, that doesn't help municipalities and doesn't help the school districts.
No. And like I said, it does hamper us, you know, for our village operations too. Obviously, the bigger chunk is for the schools, but it does, on the local governments, does have a big effect. I know a lot of communities, you know, looking through Dublin's, up Arlington's, a lot of the communities are kind of been co-supporting the opposition to this bill.
It also reduces our borrowing power because we cannot now use property tax to back loans and stuff, so we have to then rely on our income tax to pledge a security instead of property tax.
Can we do another formal, like written testimony like we did for property tax as well?
Yes, and I believe the school proposed potentially signing off on their letter, so it would be a joint letter. So if we're in favor of that, I'll let them know. And
I would be supportive of joining the schools with our concerns too, because it definitely impacts everybody, and not to mention anything that impacts the schools, but not, it will still impact our community.
I know the treasurer has done a ton of research on this, and from how would they go about doing this and how it would impact. He's looked into that, so if you even want more information, you can contact, I'm sure you can contact them.
Is there a counter-proposed bill on property tax? Like
I haven't heard of one.
I remember they put, and I don't want to put in, I think there's a Senate bill they thought was a little bit more aligned with that.
There was a Senate bill that proposed a 50% property tax reduction for homeowners age 65 or older with no income threshold. So that would have some impact on us, but not as much.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's what you're referencing.
Thank you, Ms. Lupton.
Yep, I'll keep everybody updated.
Okay, I have a series of motions that we need to go through for setting public hearings, and these have all been approved and set through planning and zoning. I will be heading out probably 7:25 here, so I'll get through at least like
so
the motions. Oh yeah, no, thank you. So it might have to be new business, but yes. Okay, motion to set the public hearing for amendment of the codified ordinances, Chapter 1161, B1 Neighborhood Business District of Part 11 of the Planning and Zoning Code, ZC-25-8 for August 11, 2025.
Second.
Yes.
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 5 yeas, the motion passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Next motion to set the public hearing for the amendment of the codified ordinances, Chapter 1165, B3 Central Business District of Part 11 of the Planning and Zoning Code, ZC-25-9 for August 11th, 2025.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Motion passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Motion to set the public hearing for the amendment of the codified ordinances, Chapter 1169, I-1, a restricted industrial district of Part 11 of the Planning and Zoning Code, ZC-25-10 for August 11th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Yes.
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 Motion passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Motion to set the public hearing for the amendment of the codified ordinances, Chapter 1171, I-2 Limited Industrial District of Part 11 of the Planning and Zoning Code, ZC-25-11 for August 11th, 2025.
So moved. Second. Yes.
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 Motion passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Motion to set the public hearing for amendment of the codified ordinances, removal of Chapter 1175 OLR Office, Laboratory and Research District of Part 11 of the Planning and Zoning Code, ZC-25-12 for August 11th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Yes.
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 Motion passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Moving into unfinished business, Second reading ordinance 18-2025, accepting the annexation petition of 70.5 acres from Darby Township, Madison County, Ohio to the Village of Plain City, Ohio.
Motion to approve ordinance 18-2025.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Sins.
Yes.
Mr. Daly.
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson. Mr. Herron.
Yes.
Ordinance 18-25 passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Second reading ordinance 19-2025, amending the codified ordinances, chapter 1135.04, fees of part 11 of the Planning and Zoning Code.
Approve ordinance 19.
Second.
Ms. Ferguson. Mr. Herron.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Sins.
Yes.
Mr. Daly.
Yes.
Ordinance 19-2025 is approved, 5 yeas to 0 nays. Second reading ordinance 2025, amending the codified ordinances, chapter 1185.02, corridor development overlay district of part 11 of the Planning and Zoning Code.
Approve ordinance 2025.
Second.
Mr. Daly.
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mr. Herron.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Sins.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025 passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Second reading ordinance 21-2025, amending the codified ordinances, chapter 1136, amendments of part 11 of the Planning and Zoning Code.
Motion to approve. Go ahead.
2025.
Second.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson. Mr. Sins.
Yes.
Mr. Daly.
Yes.
Mr. Herron.
Yes.
Ordinance 21-2025 passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Second reading resolution 34-2025, approving and implementing the planning and zoning fee schedule.
Approve resolution 34-2025.
Yes.
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 Ms. Ferguson. Mr. Daly.
Yes.
Resolution 34-2025 passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Second reading resolution 35-2025, approving final legislation authorizing the Village of Plain City's participation in the Ohio Department of Transportation US-42 and West Avenue intersection improvement project.
Resolution 35.
Second.
Mr. Daly.
Yes.
Mr. Herron.
Yes.
Mr. Sins.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson.
Yes.
Resolution 35-2025 passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Moving into new business, first reading resolution 37-2025, authorizing the village administrator to award the contract for the 2025 Village of Plain City resurfacing program to Kencoat Incorporated. First reading resolution 38-2025, authorizing and directing the village administrator to enter into a purchase agreement with David Raber for real property located at 0 Courier Road, Plain City, Ohio. And we are about to enter an executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 121.22G2, to consider the purchase of property for public purposes. This concludes the public portion of tonight's meeting. There will be no further business after the executive session. We will be entering executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 121.22G2. So is there a motion to enter executive session?
Motion to enter executive session.
Mr. Daly.
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson. Mr. Herron.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Sins.
Yes.
Motion passes to enter executive session.